There are a million reasons people start therapy. A breakup, burnout, a new job, whatever your reason, there is one place to start. Grow Therapy meets you where you are with support that actually sticks. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments, you just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Visit growtherapy.com/start now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/start now. growtherapy.com/start now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan. We all prefer things a certain way, like groceries. If you want groceries just how you like them, you gotta try Instacart. They have a new preference picker that lets you pick how ripe or unripe you want your bananas. Shoppers can see your preferences up front, helping guide their choices. Because when it comes to groceries, the details matter. Instacart. Get groceries just how you like.
Welcome to episode 102 of Winging It. Humble
crumble.
I was getting humbled in Mostar by everyone slagging me off and not doing beer check anymore. So I heard you going to get a drink, Albert, and you've come back with a Guinness Zero.
Yes. Still trying to maintain the lower rate of drinking at the moment. I'm having to drink a lot more around Palace games at the moment, so I'm sort of...
To make it more bearable?
Yeah.
Get through it.
To get through it.
I've got some French head on this beer.
Leaving that where it is. What beer is it?
So it's a Peroni. Basically, I've been having this discussion with people, and it's Dublin, as Shelbourne away, has got a lot to blame for this. Is that I've basically only drunk Guinness since, and what I've realised is that I can drink 6 pints of Guinness and not have a headache the next day. Where I drink 6 pints of whatever 5.56% pale ale, and I feel like I'm going to die when I wake up. So send in your abuse. Tell me how soft I am. I don't care. I'm gonna reach out to Guinness and see if they'll sponsor the pod.
You're neither fish nor fowl this week because you're drinking a Peroni, which is very not you. It's also not French, but you know.
I didn't say it was French. I said the
French.
head on the beer looks French or German. They like a big head.
Hey.
That's why I married my wife. Anyway.
That's why you got a big doghouse.
So before we get started, I want to thank everyone who has been sponsoring the bike ride from Arsenal. Cool. These two look very sheepish. I know you'll get round to it.
I literally have a tab open and I'm going to send it to the WhatsApp group as we speak. Please carry on.
No, there's obviously a long way to go yet, and it will all pick up towards the event as well.
What's your target?
I set it at 1,000 at the moment, but I'm hoping to expand that out later down the line because it is for a good cause.
What are you at the moment?
290-ish, 300, something like that.
290 currently.
Albert's about to drop 700 quid. Just get me straight to the target.
Albert, if you drop 700 quid, can you just put "and Sam" when you sign it?
Well, yeah, you've blown your money on your new desk and chair.
I have.
Well, I blew my money on a flight from Sarajevo to London.
Check the Winging It accounts, please.
Where's all the sponsorship money gone?
Listen, I I touched on it briefly on the Conference League Chronicles pod. I'm sure people want to know the full story, which was quite simple, really. We ended up in a lock-in in a pub with the owners until 4 a.m.
Parish?
Sort of 3:30.
He's got to go. He's got to go.
It was brilliant. We'd order a drink and John Texter would skateboard over to the bar and bring it back.
Fucking hell.
But no, it ended up in a bar. I hadn't even appreciated that it closed. And then next thing I know, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And yeah. And I definitely set my alarm because I remember laughing when I set it because it was 4 a.m. and I was setting it for 6:30.
Had you done the thing where, because you were setting it that day, you'd actually set it for the next day? Do we think that what happened?
No. And
I'm trying to give you an out here.
Got no outs. And then, yeah, obviously, but what was funny is I woke up at 10 a.m. I was supposed to be up at 6:30. So I wake up at 10 a.m. and I look at my phone. I'm like, fuck. And I did that thing where I immediately got up and started rushing around. And I did this for like 90 seconds. And I was like, what am I doing? The flight's in an hour and 20 minutes and it's a 2.5 hour drive away.
Just to get back into bed.
Well, no, because then I realised I probably need to check out soon because it's already 10 o'clock.
And pay.
And that's another story. I'm desperately trying to pay the woman. She just won't send me her bank details. I was supposed to pay cash for the hotel. I didn't. I forgot.
Legged it.
I legged it strong. I'm trying to pay the woman. I'm harassing her on WhatsApp. I'm like, please send me your bank details. But I think she's going to write off the 22 euros or something. But
it's probably more than that for a late checkout.
That's what the GoFundMe is actually for, is the bank bill.
But no, it was very annoying. But as you would have heard from the pod, I bumped into James Howland and also a guy called Dom, and we hung around in Mostar that day, got a train back to Sarajevo. Then me, Dom, and a friend Mark was in Sarajevo. We went out to quite late, ended up in a jazz bar at like 3 a.m. So that was fun.
I mean, talk about not learn from your mistakes.
Set my alarm.
My flight wasn't until 7:15 the next evening. Yeah. So I couldn't miss that. I was going to do well to miss that. And then, got up and went to the Winter Olympics site from 1984 up in the mountains in Sarajevo, which is pretty cool. You walk down the bobsleigh track and it's all been graffitied and whatever. But like everywhere, when you're in Sarajevo, it's a bit, everywhere you look really there's still bullet holes from the war everywhere. And it was the same up in the mountains. They'd obviously been fighting up there, sniper turrets and things like that. It's very eerie. Sure
it wasn't the Wayward biathlon.
It could have been.
Really bad score.
Yeah. But then, And then we decided to end it with a bit of light Crimes Against Humanity Genocide Museum, which was, very strong. But I would fully 100% recommend going to it if you're ever in Sarajevo. It was, tough, but worthwhile and good to read about the history of the place you're in.
Anything in the gift shop?
Moving on. But I made my flight back and it was, ended up getting in at like midnight. And then because I'm a hero for the listeners, I produced a Conference League Chronicles and didn't get to bed till 1:30. But
well
the big
done.
question is, am I in the doghouse?
Are you in the doghouse, Terence?
No. And the worrying thing is, I feel like it's been banked for someone somewhere further down the line.
Yeah.
Smart woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing. But great trip all round. How was yours, Hesketh? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, a lot less dramatic than yours at the end. Really good, really good. We're in.
In fact, I seem to remember reading a message from you as I was out. You were saying, I'm just about to sit down and read a book at like 1 a.m.
This is very sad. I was desperately trying to finish this fucking book on the plane, and I didn't. And we got back to the hotel in Split, and I was like, I'll finish the book. I didn't finish the book. And then we got to Mostar, and we were all a bit pissed, and we were in the lobby talking about Palace, because obviously that's what you do. And then all of my group started telling me how shit Speroni was. So I said, fuck this, I'm going to bed. I'm going to finish my book. Yep.
What?
Exactly.
What? Name
They all listen to this. They know who they are. They will answer for their crimes. So I was like, right, fuck you all. I'm going to finish my book. And I think then I texted you. Not as rock and roll as your lock-in with the owner until 4 o'clock. I did finish my book though, which is the main thing.
Who done it?
It was the butler. So yeah, it was really good. Anyway, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Mostar's a lovely place. You and I spoke on the Chronicles bit before the game. Game itself was not great, but quite a fun experience. Also, you're closer to the pitch than you are at St James's Park, so it's not that fucking bad. And then we ended up in a bar, like a Zrinjski bar, but they had a Sean Scannell shirt hanging out the front. So we were like, oh, let's go there because they seem to be friendly. And all that I remember really, and I'd stopped drinking quite early, was me and my friend Malcolm had our backs to the bar. So we were the first people that the waitress got to when she was bringing out a tray of drinks, and she just kept angrily handing us drinks. So it looked like me and Malcolm were absolute fucking caning it because we had like 50 bottles of beer in front of us. But we didn't cane it because we're sensible boys.
Sorry, you've glossed over the Sean Scannell shirt.
Yeah, I don't know what. To be honest, I just sat down. But as we walked past, it was full of their fans. And I was like, probably let's go somewhere else. But then we saw the Sean Scannell shirt just literally hanging on a coat hanger on the door of the bar. It had like a little terracey bit. And some of them spoke a bit of English, but they loved the Waka Waka song. They loved it. Like they would literally run out of the bar and sing the song with us when we were singing it. So that was quite good. So it was good. It was good around, and I didn't have any drama getting home, Terence. We got back to Split, and I flew to Germany, and then I flew home.
Well, I wonder if the Sean Scannell shirt came from. They knew Palace were coming to town. They wanted a shirt, and then they went online to buy one and realised that all Sean Scannell shirts bottomed out when he dived in front of the Homestyle to win a penalty.
I mean, we've made the assumption that it is a Crystal Palace shirt. Are we sure it's not like
it looked like a Crystal Palace shirt to me? He's playing in Gibraltar at the moment, though, so maybe it was.
Can I just say, I've just Googled Sean Scannell, and the first result is the link to Wikipedia, and it says just above it, "You visit often." Like
big Sean Scannell fan?
Apparently so.
Big scans.
Yeah. Big up big scans.
Sean Scans at Sean Scans on Instagram for anyone that's desperate to check in.
Is that a page you also visit a lot?
No, it's the next result on Google.
Well, as I say, he's just signed for a team in Gibraltar. So,
how many followers do you think Sean Scannell's got on Instagram?
2,000.
Are we higher or lower than Winging It CPFC?
I don't know, man. Probably higher. I don't know.
7,000. That feels low. Go on.
17,000 followers.
Not far off. We've got 15 on that.
Have we?
Yeah.
Wow. Take that, scanners.
I've kind of just got images in my head of Sean Scannell walking around Gibraltar going, the water in Gibraltar don't taste like it water.
And then diving.
And Sprody still saving the penalty from someone called Norwood, no less.
I can't believe there's been some international Speroni slander.
There was a lot of Speroni slander. And Malcolm, who listens to the show, you guys may have met him. Terence, I think you probably have. Lovely guy.
Did I meet Malcolm in Strasbourg?
Oh, good question. I can't remember who was where now. Don't know, but he hates Jules. He hates him.
Was he in the bar before the game when I had Korean pussy?
Yes, he was.
If he wasn't in the doghouse before, he is now.
Don't be WhatsApping that. That's for sure.
That was the name of the burger I had, by the way.
Hey, if I type that into Google, I get you visit often now.
I did then hold up one of the microphone things and say, that needs a visual, which I'm not going to share. I do apologize.
Can we blush?
But yeah, you're right. Sprony slander is outrageous.
Yeah, it is.
That is shocking.
As I say, it forced me to leave and go and read a book. So, you're welcome, Jules.
I've got nothing. We need to find a way to ban his IP address so he can't listen to it. Not having it. Right, but I know what he looks like. I know who he is. Coming for him at a later date.
Your card is marked.
I already had a go at Jason for not liking Will Hughes.
It's going to take out my entire group of Palace mates in one fell swoop. We all love TikTok Keith, though. And if you haven't listened to the Conference League Chronicles episode 4, you should, because TikTok Keith's on it.
Good value he was.
Very good value.
His journey was mental as well. Did he talk about his journey on the Conference League Chronicles? Can't remember. I was so pissed.
It was very sketchy minibuses across various borders where the minibus, they all got off at the border, showed their passports, and all of their stuff was still on board. And then the minibus disappeared for half an hour. They just had to hope it returned. It did return. And then
he was only in a t-shirt, right? And it was like -1 degrees or something.
Yeah. And then they were supposed to get into Mostar at like 6:30 or something, and they got in at 4 because the bloke put his foot down. So they had to sit on the inside of a bank, where all the ATMs are, to keep warm, and then they got booted out. So that was a good introduction to the... At least we put in an amazing performance and smashed the first leg, like 5-0. Oh, right. Hang on
a minute. When I was starting to prepare for this podcast today, I opened up notes in my phone and discovered that I already had some notes for episode 102. And I was like, when did I write these? And I saw the timestamp next to it, and it was 2:30 in the morning when we was in the lock-in. And it's lyrics to a song for Bjorn Sosa to the tune of Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Real crowd pleaser.
And as soon as I saw it, like all the memories came flooding back of doing it with Ben Mintram. And that sounded wrong. I wasn't doing it with Ben Mintram. I was writing a song with Ben Mintram. And do you want to hear the lyrics?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm just distracted. Albert's been bought some hummus. What is that?
It's a little taster of the bolognese that we were cooking this afternoon.
Why have you got like a goo ramekin of bolognese?
We've had this discussion in the past.
Very good. Right, let's hear the chant. A bit more salt.
A bit more salt. There's a crow out on the wing. There's no cross he can ping. And his name is Bjorn Sosa. There's a young man from Zagreb, and he ain't learned to pass yet. His name is Bjorn Sosa. And we were fully behind that chant and singing it very loudly in a pub of about 8 people.
I mean, if you'd have told me, I'd have spent an hour just learning Stairway to Heaven on the guitar, and I'd have accompanied you on that. But...
Isn't that a thing from Wayne's World,
Wayne's
no
World.
stairway to heaven.
No stairway. Denied.
Oh, at least listeners of this podcast will know what Wayne's World is, I imagine. So
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So we've got a second leg to contend with on Thursday against Mostar. Is it going to be a statement win, Hesketh?
No. Well, it depends what the statement is. The statement is we're shit, then maybe. I don't know. We laboured is the word I would use in that first leg. First sort of 10, 15 minutes, we looked all right. And then we laboured. And actually, having watched the highlights back, the Mostar miss in the first half was actually a lot worse than I thought it was because of where our angle was when he sort of hit it over the bar. To the point where
you could see like Mostar players celebrating in the background like they thought he'd scored.
I was about to say that the fullback was absolutely ready to let rip until it went over. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we played particularly well against Wolves. Definitely not against 11 men. So, I just want to scrape through. It's hard to be confident because we're not playing very well. And I wonder what he might do a little bit different, not in terms of the system, obviously, but like maybe play Guessand, who seems to want to take people on a bit more. And I think if we play him and get him to do that, then all right, we might get somewhere. But the idea that we'd win like 3-0 seems a bit alien to me at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we can do what we did against Burnley and race into a 2-0 lead and try and hold on. Who knows? But, we did have a lot of the ball against Mostar. Hopefully at Selhurst, we've kind of had some practice against Wolves of trying to break down a low block after 10 men. So who knows? Hopefully we'll be able to break through. Albert, you don't look convinced.
I'm sure we'll win somehow. It's just, that performance. And, it sounds disrespectful. It sounds disrespectful to say that, we should be rolling these teams over and all that sort of stuff. And it's disrespectful to the competition at large. But I think, you look at all the games so far in the Conference League, and I include the Fredrikstad qualifiers in that. I can't name one performance that anybody could probably stand and say they're happy with. Home, away, the performances just haven't been there. And I know very early on, maybe even before we kicked a ball in that competition, we speculated that we're going to be faced with teams that are going to try and sort of stifle the game and low block, and we're going to have to find a way of unlocking these teams, yada, yada, yada. And obviously, the Shelbourne result was a bit of an outlier in terms of the results and the goals we've been putting away. But you'd really think that a little way down the road, it's not our first game. We're, what are we, 6-7 fixtures into this competition, and the performances don't seem to be improving. So, I would, like I say, I'd like to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to go through on Thursday by hook or by crook. But the competition only really just starts getting going after that. And, we might find ourselves against, again, it's going to sound disrespectful, we might find ourselves against some more proper teams. And, if we can't look impressive against these smaller teams, then, I don't think we can sit here and get too excited at the prospect of playing the better teams. But maybe playing the better teams is going to play to our strengths. Who knows?
Yeah, get a bit more space against the better teams. I think Fiorentina are building up a head of steam, and they've definitely shut up the league a bit. They're still in relegation zone, but or just outside it on goal difference, but they're not rock bottom anymore. I'm not sure how Mainz are doing, but I know they were still bottom of the league for a bit. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. But I think that we will get through comfortably in the end on Thursday night.
Let's go with that.
I feel like I see little signs and not just signs on the pitch. There are some little signs on the pitch. You saw almost some great link-ups on Saturday or Sunday. It didn't quite come off, but starting to get a sense that the players are starting to understand each other's games a bit more. And as always with Glasner, it's always been a system. And if you look, both seasons he's been in charge, it's the back end of the season that we've gone on an absolute barnstormer. So I'm clinging on to hope that that will occur this time. But of course, a lot of it has hinged on his comments that Glasner has made after the Mostar game, suggesting that we should all remain humble. Of course, at the away end at full time in Mostar, there were, I want to say, a third of the away end singing for his head.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also a lot of arguments going on with people not agreeing or, suggesting that even if they do think the same, he should get some respect and it, shouldn't be vocalized in that way or blah, blah, blah. I was very upset after the game with how the press all of a sudden, like from so many weird angles that this was being thrown up, that the whole away end was singing it and that everybody wants him out, and which is just not necessarily the case. And I was a little bit like getting all conspiracy theorist because, there was like the Men in Blazers account, for example, immediately posted a video from the segregated, so the area, the segregation between the two fans where you could not get, that's where it's being filmed from. And all of a sudden that's immediately on their socials. And I'm like, Steve Parish has been on that show twice. Adam Wharton's been on that show recently. There's been a couple of it, like they have very good access to Palace. And I was just like, are they just being fed this shit? Like, what's going on where they're focusing in on like a handful of fans singing it and then suggesting it's the whole away end? I don't know. I think there's a lot more nuance to people wanting Glasner out than just saying that, everyone saying the entire away end's calling for his head. But then he does go off and say that we need to remain humble, which has obviously rubbed up a lot of people the wrong way and has turned people who might have been on the fence a little bit or saying he should be given a chance to turn it around, even with him going. I think a lot of people that pushed him over that edge and said, you can get fucked and go now. But Albert, he's survived his post-Sunderland comments. He survived these as well. So what's he got to do to get sacked?
Well, if Thursday goes belly up, that's not going to do him any favours. The problem is to sack someone for going out of a cup competition feels a bit weird. Feels like that's an odd straw to break the camel's back because it's not like a new manager's going to get you back into that competition. So, but yeah, as we discussed last week, the next. I mean, we've had 2 of those games, but that run of 6 games, starting with Mostar away, I think it's big for our season and it's big for Glasner. I mean, there's only 10 games left in the league. Obviously 2 of the games that we're playing in that 6 are a Conference League game. But yeah, I think he's got to. I mean, he's certainly got to. He's certainly got to wind his neck in a little bit with the things that he's saying, and how he's kind of portraying himself and how he's sort of digging out the fans, and he's very pointy with a lot of his answers. And I mean, for him, I don't think he's doing himself any favours. Like, we know he ain't going to be our manager next season, but he's certainly got form for falling out with the board or sporting directors, etc., etc., etc. And any club like Tottenham, for example, or heaven forbid, Man United, they're all clubs that have these structures, and the way he's conducted himself, I think, since probably certainly since he announced he was leaving, I don't think he's doing Oliver Glasner any favours.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what you said there. I think the thing that maybe he seems to be missing is that a lot of fans are pissed off not just because of the results. It's not oh, we're losing, that's why they're booing, or that's why they're digging out, the manager. A lot of what he says in his press conferences since Sunderland has just been like, it's just unnecessary. I think a couple, maybe last week he said, there are some players who have already decided they want to move on and they should concentrate on what they're doing. It's like, but you've already told us that you're moving on. So it's quite hard for me then to be like, well, the players just should do better because you're not doing better. I mean, he can say, oh, he's 100% committed and all that, but I don't know. I don't really know how he can be. And I think some of the stuff that he's pissed off about or that he moaned about not being backed or players going or whatever, like probably quite a few fans agree with him, but the way that he's gone about talking about it and the way that he's apportioning blame elsewhere and sort of saying, oh, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. It's not about Oliver Glasner. There's nothing I can do. That rubs my back up the wrong way. And I think this latest stay humble, even though as Terence has rightly said, he said before when things were going well, it pissed me off because I was just like, you don't be saying stuff like that, whether it's a translation thing or not. I mean, his English is pretty good, so I don't think it is. But like, people have just spent a lot of money to go to Bosnia. I mean, I'm lucky, I'm privileged in that I can afford it. But a lot of people spend a lot of money. Don't then start digging them out and telling them to be humble. Like, I know football's football. You're on £4 million a year, so he needs to relax with that a little bit. Because that pissed me off. That pissed me off. And I do think you're right, Terence, that the press has really started to like stir the pot and bringing it up like it's always the first question in press conferences. I think he just needs to draw a line and just talk about football. Just talk about football now. You would hope that that's the board's advice to him. I don't know how much he wants to listen to him anymore. But like, just talk about fucking football. Let's get to the end of the season and then see you later, basically.
There are a million reasons people start therapy. A breakup, burnout, a new job, whatever your reason, there is one place to start. Grow Therapy meets you where you are with support that actually sticks. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Visit growtherapy.com/start now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/start now. growtherapy.com/start now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Well, there's a big element of it, like when all that stuff came out, he's just had an overnight flight. He's probably shattered. He's straight away having to do a press conference after already having done a press conference. He's getting all the same questions again. Everyone wants to level at him. They were singing for your head, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, this is not like, it's all sensationalism and it's to get clicks. So that's all it is. All these journalists constantly at the moment are just trying to drive clicks instead of just letting the man get on with his job, which is what's really starting to piss me off and making me to sort of like circle back and start to side with him a little bit, because I have empathy for the position he's in, because I don't necessarily think that you can say you're leaving a job and you can't still give 100%, because I know the last job I left, I mean, it was internally to move roles, but it was like I wanted to do the best handover I possibly could. So over a 3-month period, I like really tried to, help the next person that was coming in after me. So that is definitely possible to do. And he said to the BBC after the game on the weekend, I've gone to the board and I said, if you want someone else, I'm not going to stand in your way or like try and do anything like that. You know, Crystal Palace is the important ones here. And he spoke to the players. So if the board is saying, we believe in you, and all the players are still backing him, then maybe they can just play through this and we end up in another scenario, like I said, where we end the season like we have done the last 2 seasons. And we're all laughing about it come May when we're in Leipzig and Glasner's parading the Conference League trophy around in front of us and saying goodbye in the best way possible.
What you're saying is it's springtime Glas.
Springtime Glas. Yeah.
Glass half full.
Yes. Well, I just, like I say, it's the press that have really annoyed me with it. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing, we know you're leaving at the end of the season. Has that changed? Are you going to leave sooner? It's boring now. It's been 8 press conferences in a row. I don't want to hear it anymore. Just talk about the football for a bit. Because they're all saying, you know, Glasner always says it's not about Oliver Glasner, it's about Crystal Palace. And loads of people in the press, like, you know, or jokey people in the press and social media accounts and influencers and all that want to be like, but everything's all been about Oliver Glasner. And it's like, well, he's been asked the same questions all the time. It's the press that's making it about him all the time. Where if they had stopped asking him about leaving, he'd just be getting on with his job. And we wouldn't end up in these scenarios where, you know, the humble comment he said we need to stay humble after Larnaca, when we held up a massive fucking banner saying that we're going to Leipzig and then we lose to Larnaca. But when you've only lost 1 in 15 or whatever it was at that stage. Obviously you can say a comment like that and it passes off. No one notices, no one makes a thing of it. But then he basically follows the same line this time around that says we should be humble because of where we've come from and like where we've got, and maybe our expectations are a little bit too high.
Which is it?
It's his own. He's got to manage that because he's the one who created those expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, you can't. What? So we can't. Again, and for the record, we spoke about it at the time. I didn't like the a lot of the banner sort of angles about, you know, winning the competition, and I think it's good for him to say, you know, yeah, look, guys, let's just take a breath and be humble. But like Hesketh said, it's another thing to say it when you're on a fucking piss poor run of form. Yeah, everyone looks shot. He looks shot. You know, he doesn't look interested. He's sort of sniping at the fans. It's, you know, to then use that sort of rhetoric is, you know, it led to more banners on Sunday.
Yeah. So what did the banner say? The banner said opportunities missed, board inept, fans disrespected, Glasner finished.
Mixed messaging.
Followed by songs at the end of the game, like 1-0 to the Humble Boys. It was quite amusing, ringing around Selhurst. But so opportunities missed. You do kind of look now at it and be like, why have we spent this 85 million in January and not in August? Does feel a bit frustrating. Like we should, like if we were going to do that, we should have just front loaded it, let him have the squad he wanted from the beginning, and we could have probably got rid of Gay then and got more money for him and bought in a very sufficient replacement instead of having to patch it all up now as it's gone. So there's that, and then of course there's the debacle with the Europa League and that not happening, and you know, and then probably paying, with hindsight, far too much attention to that whole thing because it was very clear from the ruling that we were never going to be overturning anything or ever getting into that tournament. So I got no arguments with that stuff. Fans disrespected. Whether Glasner's intention was to disrespect us or not, that's how it's been perceived. He just has to deal with that because that's how it's felt for everyone. It's just like, almost to a man, people have been like, easy. Like, where do you think you're going? we've all just dropped loads of money to come to Mostar and watch, as you say, it's the most, not lowest fans, most of the older fans, most people with loads of points out there, people going to Palace for years, people was on the streets while we are in administration trying to save the club and all that stuff. It's just like, not really striking the tone. So that's how it is. Fans have felt disrespected. Whether Glasner's finish or not remains to be seen for me.
Yeah, I was thinking about how people are viewing the banners and stuff. I was talking to my mates about it, and I was like, I think overall, even though there are a few banners here and there, like Palace's fan base on the whole is fairly patient. Maybe not if you're Daichi Kamada or Jeremy Pino now, but like, we're fairly patient, and I think a lot of that is born out of like we've been bang average for ages. So, that is what it is. But if he were doing this at some, I don't know, like Tottenham, man, they'd be booing him after a game. They'd be on his back real quick. So in some respects, I think he's actually helped by us being a bit more reasonable and a bit more patient. Not everyone, and certainly not. Obviously, you go online, it's a different thing because they're the people who moan, and it looks like they speak for the whole fan base. But yeah, I think it felt, and this is from the end of the Mostar game, so before we beaten Wolves, but it felt at the end of that, it just felt like the point of no return for a lot of people in terms of their views on him and supporting him. Obviously, we support the club. But there were some dissenting voices. It wasn't as bad as the press made out, as you said, Terence. But I don't know. It just felt like this feels like we're definitely nearing the end. Now, the end might be the end of the season if everything goes swimmingly and we're all having this chat in a lock-in in Leipzig, where I leave to go and finish a book. But it definitely feels like we're on the way down from this relationship with him, which is more than anything, it's a shame in my opinion, because up until this point, it's been quite a lot of fun. And obviously the Cup and the Charity Shield, or whatever it's called, Community Shield, was amazing. So it's kind of a shame that like not a year later, we're having these talks about he's pissed some of us off and there's a banner telling him that he's done. I just think it's a real shame, but hopefully he's concentrating on Mostar at home, as are all the players, and we can prolong this journey a bit more.
Yeah, so getting into the Wolves game then, it was very, the first song being sung by the fans being South London's Red and Blue Army was very, very telling. I also enjoyed the song at full time. We got rickrolled by our own stadium DJ.
That was good.
I guess the lyrics make sense. But, it could have been such an easier afternoon if Pino just lifted the ball over Sarr into the back of the net after they've made a huge error to put him in. And then he hits the post as well from the Wakanda Forever corner. But which is so funny because there'd been already a couple of near post corners which hadn't beaten the first man, and then this one looked like a fuck up, but that is the corner. That is what that symbol means. That like it's deliberate to get it to the man on the edge of the box. So everyone groaned. I was like, and then Wharton pops up and flicks it out. Pino's so unlucky that it hits in the post, which probably sums up his Palace career. However, Hesketh, him getting booed when he's being substituted it's a bit much. Or not, it wasn't him being booed specifically. It was more like cheering that it was his number that went up.
Him. Yeah, I don't like that. I wouldn't even like that if it was Jeffrey Schlupp. Older listeners will know that. Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't think he was having a great game, but personally, I didn't think he was absolutely terrible compared to the rest of the team. I just feel like he's the new person to be the center of everyone's annoyance. Some people near me who absolutely hate him, just can't stand him. Even if he does things well, they don't like him. So it's a shame. I think, regardless of all that stuff we talked about with the manager and that, don't be sarcastic about the players, even if they are having a bad game. Just support the sub coming on rather than jeering the bloke going off, is my opinion.
Yeah, and on another day he has 2 goals, and it's just like, I was saying this, and he tried a few flicks, tried a few through balls that didn't work, and I was saying to the people around me, like, surely one day he's just going to have a day where these all come off. Like, surely that's got to start happening, law of averages. But some of the responses were, it was taking a while, and which is also fair. And another side, another weird process of events, Albert, was the increasing desire for Palace fans to get pissed off at long throws from Chris Richards, which I really hope Chris Richards didn't take any of that personally. But how do you feel about long throws, Albert? Keep herding them in there or get rid?
I'm bored of seeing them across the whole Premier League spectrum. Like, it's the thing, isn't it now? Set pieces, long throws, and XG, all that shit. I think if it's a tactic that you're good at, then you should be doing it. So I'm not going to. I certainly wouldn't get disgruntled if I saw one at a game that I actually went to. I haven't been to a game for a little while. I mean, the one against Macclesfield at the end, that wasn't, a moment of glory for the long throw tactic. But no, I think there's just obviously just a general, what's the word? There's a general sort of cloud of disdain because, all right, cut to the end, we won the game, but with the exception of the Brighton performance, it's been a pretty miserable existence, isn't it, the last 15, 16 games. So I just think it's the smallest things now just start to irk people. And it turns out Chris Richards' long throw is one of those things now. It's not quite long enough at times. I mean, I will say that, but
medium throw.
Yeah. Especially given how Chris Richards ended the game with maybe the bang to the head. He'll forget that people were jeering the long throws, but it was pretty cool. Albert, was Jimi Hendrix? What do you reckon? Who did he resemble? Rambo?
I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I was stunned that he carried on. I mean, I thought that all of that was you're off and you're not playing the next game, and I guess someone determined that he wasn't concussed, but he looks in a bad one. And I'm not talking about the bandage, but he definitely looked like he was glazed over a little bit.
There was a still photo that I saw, I think the day after, that had been put on Instagram or Twitter or something, and he looked fucked.
Yeah,
his eyes were puffy. He had the bandage on. He was glazed over. I was like, it doesn't feel like he should have been finishing that match at all.
But it was also the first long ball that came up, towered over the forward and just headed it clear. I was like, yes, kid, yes,
he's back.
But obviously this is a great example of how everything just appears to conspire against us at the moment, because we'd literally just subbed off Chaddy Riyad. So now we're in a scenario where Chris Richards can't go off as JD Convo on the back on his own, because there's literally no one left on the bench to bring on either. So he kind of had to carry on, really. But I didn't think he looked unsteady or anything on his feet when he gets put, because that's always when you can tell is how. And he immediately looked steady, jogged off the pitch. Yeah, excellent work.
Fair play to him, though.
Yeah, warrior. And they get some great pictures out of it as well. That's some class pictures to have. Just big bandage around the afro. It was brilliant. Loved it. But of course, Guessand comes on late, and second time he's come on in the second half and contributed to the 1-0 win. And we were huffing and puffing, and at least we really started to put the foot on the neck a bit towards the end of that game. We really put it on them, and ended up getting the breakthrough with Tyrant Mitchell finding Guessand. Massive shout out to Tyrant Mitchell. When we walked out of Glazier's, went to Glazier's after the game. I had my boy with me at the game, and 3 games he's been to now, 2 last-minute Palace winners he's seen. And we walked straight into Tyrant Mitchell, walking out. And we'd bought all Ellis's tops cards, so he signed that for him. So that was very nice. Nice. And
Love
saw Strand Larsen in person as well. He is massive.
Unit.
Like, he's like having to duck under doorways. Like, he is humongous. Like, really, really big guy. But yeah, brilliant cross.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely finish from Guessand. And nice bunch of celebrations down in the corner, Hesketh.
Yeah, I thought he was good when he came on. Like you were saying, Pino was trying something that wasn't always coming off, but if it does, with Guessand, like, you can tell he wants to take people on, and he, a couple of times it didn't work and he got tackled, whatever. But having someone who wants to push forward with the ball, especially when he's like 30, 40 yards out, really makes a difference. And I think that we needed it against Wolves, because we did ramp the pressure up a bit. Obviously, against 10 minutes, easier. But you still need someone to get that going, and I think he started the move off that he finished. He had the ball that would played across and then back to Wharton, who passed it to Ty. And a good finish. I mean, he was aware of where the ball was going to be, and he was in the right place at the right time. And you can tell from the celebrations, all the players, even Daichi legged it over there and was jumping on him. Mm-hmm. So he I'm sure loads of people have said this about him since he signed Guessand, but he feels like a Palace player. And it's always hard to quantify what that actually means. But when you say it, other Palace fans are like, yeah, he does.
It was a very Ebbs finish.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he just breaks into that little pocket of space and sort of slots it at the near post. If I take my glasses off, and the way he tries to operate between the lines, and he sort of checks back or checks inside before having a look up for a pass. It's I'd say he's Eze light.
Well, that was always who we wanted as the replacement for Eze, right? And we've got him eventually. And yeah, brilliant scenes, loved it. But I think man of the match wise, obviously Chris Richards had a really good game given the circumstances, but Dean Henderson, just one man show in the first half. A couple of really good saves, one from the free kick, one from the deflected shot off Richards, which was just sneaking under, but yet another penalty save, which of goalkeepers to face 15 or more penalties in Premier League history, Dean Henderson has the best save rate. He saved 5 of 15 penalties. And he's tied first with Mark Bosnich.
Wow.
Who saved 6 of 18 penalties he faced.
Wow.
Yeah. So
also, not to undermine Henderson's save. To be told after the game that the Wolves player had missed his last 5 penalties, which was then confirmed by actually doing the research, is mad. But I can't remember who I said it to, but I'm like, that bloke is an absolute tank. Yeah. So I'm like, no one's taken that ball off him. If he wants to take the penalty, there's no one's taken that ball off him. So,
well, Palace have released a video this evening of Adam Wharton standing behind him, and when he starts his run up, he points to Henderson where to go, which is the least he could do after that fucking tackle. a couple of reasons why I feel like I saw some suggestions that we might be getting back to somewhere approaching playing recognisable Glasner football. Why are you looking at me like that, Albert? Don't know where I'm going.
I just want to hear it.
There was a couple of things in the game, and one as well in Glasner's press conference where he was allowed to talk about football for a little bit. Was I thought Munoz was looking back at approaching somewhere near his best, made loads of tackles in the game aggressively, got down the flank loads. We just didn't find him enough down there, but he was up and down that line and being able to do it much later into the game, where in stoppage time he was still up there, where in recent weeks he hasn't had that fitness. So I think there was clear signs that fitness is approaching back to being normal, which is obviously very, very encouraging. And then I also thought that the way Glasner was talking about it, like he was talking about us playing into their triggers in the first half. And if you particularly think about this around the penalty, the ball into Pino was a ball that we've been very used to playing. It's that blind ball out of the centre back into a space, and then you can then ping off to Tyrick Mitchell, and then Mateta comes across, and all of a sudden you've like pulled them all out of position, and we've created a transition. I liked how Glasner was actually talking about that in the post-match conference, and has identified it, and then is going to use those examples clearly to show that like where it's all broken down, and Riyadh should start to learn from those things. And it's that deck of cards things that he's talked about in the past, where it's like if everyone's not where they're supposed to be, the whole thing falls over. But that was such small margins to being almost perfect, in the sense that it did what it was designed to do. It drew the two players out, but the ball into him wasn't perfect, and Tyrick Mitchell just wasn't quite there, and Pino's touch wasn't quite there. But it was the first signs I've seen of like that line breaking passes from the centre backs we have in place now, where it's not not Gay doing it. So I was encouraged by Riyadh trying to find those passes in between the lines, and now players are probably starting to realise that he can do it. They'll be in there a bit more for him, and we can play off of that. So again, this is me being very glass half full. But
someone's got to be. We'll take it.
Hopefully it all pins together.
6-0 Thursday.
Yeah. But what's mental to think, absolutely mental to think, is that if we'd held on against Burnley, we would be 8th in the league right now.
That is mental.
Which shows, again, Glasner's right in the sense of him pointing out to say there's only been 2 seasons better at this stage in the last 10 years. One of them was last year, and one of them was 2021. So there could be a lot of people with egg on their face come the end of this season.
So stay humble, basically, is what you're saying.
Stay humble. We might all be in Leipzig. However, we have got the Albert Derby this weekend after Mostar, as Palace travel to Old Trafford. How's the tension building in your household? Has she been give you a little dig yet? Because United are in supreme form.
No, not yet. That'll come on probably Thursday night at around 10 o'clock, when hopefully our game's finished positively.
Hopefully we're not deep into extra time.
Oh, God. I've accidentally had a diary clash. I'm actually at the theatre on Thursday, and there's a part of me that wants to just come out and just see the result. But I'm also aware that I'm going to see a play adaptation of High Noon, which is a real time countdown with a lot of especially countdown to a shootout, isn't it? Because it's a Western, which
came here for a fucking shootout.
Feels like it's potentially a bad omen. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay, but yeah, I don't know why I'm even going to ask you this question, Hesketh. Do you see us get anything at Old Trafford on the weekend?
No.
Okay, good.
Full stop.
Move on. Brilliant. It works for me. Works for me. Yeah. We'll end it there. Enjoyed that, lads. Felt very cathartic.
Welcome home.
Yes. Yeah. 36 hours later and circa £400 poorer, but
are you sure you're not in the doghouse? Because that single bed that's behind you doesn't normally have a duvet and a sheet on it. Are you sure?
No, I'm all good. I think I'm all right for now. Look, basically, I made it back in time for her to go and play paddle on Sunday morning, so I think it's all's good, all's well in the world. Just
if maybe Hesketh won't like this, but should we win on Thursday, do we know where we might be going next?
Larnaca and Mainz. Sorry, I should correct myself. I did look at the table. Mainz aren't bottom of the Bundesliga anymore. They've climbed up like Fiorentina have. So, yeah. So Larnaca, we can get revenge on Larnaca, or it's Mainz. We want Larnaca. I mean, if we get through Mostar, we want Larnaca.
Yeah, because we rolled them over last time.
Yeah, but it's just like. Mainz are a bigger team, bigger stadium, bigger sport. I just think it's a better league. They play in like all across the board. It'll be a tougher game. I don't think we'd make the same mistakes against Larnaca again because we let that game drift for an hour, did nothing, and then all of a sudden found ourselves 1-0 down and was like, oh, So we'll see.
Guessand to start on Thursday.
100%.
Yeah,
with Strand Larsen and
Saar.
Interesting. Not Brennan Johnson.
As I keep saying, one of Saar and Johnson and one of Pino and Guessand. I would also not be too adverse to Pino and Guessand, but that would mean Saar's not playing, so I don't think that's a good idea because where else are our goals coming from? Well, Strand Larsen, but yeah. So it's a simple blueprint. I'll pass it on to Ollie Glasner next time I see him.
Careful.
Right, brilliant. Thanks everyone for listening, and thanks for everyone that sponsored me. Feel free to go and do it some more. Let's hit that target, get some good money across the Palace for Life Foundation. Normal time next week. We've got Spurs on Thursday.
We do.
Okay, so we can still do Tuesday. So yeah, expect us on Wednesday next week as normal. And hopefully we'll be talking about 2 Palace wins. Don't roll your eyes like that. Right, thanks for listening, and until next time, up the Palace.